Hi, I'm Wendy from the Roanoke Public Libraries, and this is part of our ongoing series of genealogy tutorials for the beginner. In our last few tutorials, we have been talking about vital records. Vital records are those documents that are issued when someone is born, when they get married, or when they die, and these are issued by a government entity such as a county or a state. We also talked about the difference between a primary and a secondary source. A primary source is that original document, such as a marriage bond. A secondary source is someone's interpretation of that original document. Perhaps it's an index or a transcription. Secondary sources are important because they help you find that original document or that primary source. We also talked about how you would be able to use Ancestry to find vital records. Today we're going to be talking about how you can use FamilySearch to find vital records. FamilySearch is owned and operated by the Church of the Latter-day Saints. It is the largest genealogical organization in the world. They have gone around and microfilmed all kinds of records from different countries, such as church records and land records, and they have digitized these and put them on the FamilySearch website. It is free for anyone to see these records. All you have to do is create an account. You do not need to be a member of the Church of the Latter-day Saints to access and view these records. There will be some records that, due to copyright, you can only see if you're located in a family history center or an affiliate library. They have a list of all of the family history centers and affiliate libraries on their website. The Roanoke Public Libraries is an affiliate library, and you can access these records in the Virginia room. As in Ancestry, there's a variety of ways you can search the FamilySearch website. You can do a global record search. You can do a search just by location. You can search using the FamilySearch Wiki, and the FamilySearch Wiki will point you to records not only on FamilySearch, but they will point you to records that are located on other websites, such as Ancestry or Fold 3. Fold 3 is a military database, or a state library. They also have what's called an image-only search, and these are the microfilm records that they have uploaded but have not had an opportunity to index yet, and you would be able to scroll through the microfilm and look for the records. And I will also show you how you can use the FamilySearch catalog to find records. So let's go to FamilySearch. And again, it's free to create a user account, and I'm already logged in. Up here is where you would search, and we're going to go to the FamilySearch Wiki first, the Research Wiki. Over on this side, we'll have links to the family history centers and the affiliate libraries. And here you can do a location search, and I'm going to drill on down to Mississippi. And I'm going to go down to the county level first. Now, in previous tutorial, I talked about using either the FamilySearch Wiki or the Red Book to find this information right here. When the county was established and when did they start issuing records. Because one, you don't want to look for a record if that record never existed. For example, if I was looking for a birth record of someone and I know they were born in 1890 in Yazoo County, but Yazoo County did not start issuing birth certificates until 1912, I don't want to spend time looking for a record that never existed. Also, if I am looking for somebody and they were in that location in 1821, Yazoo wasn't even a county until 1823, so I need to go to Hinds County if I'm looking for a record that happened before 1823. Okay, I'm going to go back up to Mississippi. So whenever I scroll through, there is all kinds of records here, and we're going to go to vital records. Like I said before, FamilySearch Wiki will point you to records not only on their website, but records that are also on other websites. And if it has a little $sign next to it, that means that there may be a charge to access those records. And if you put your cursor over there, it will tell you where these records are coming from. So, for instance, this Order Mississippi Certificates is coming from the CDC. This is US GenWeb, which we will talk about later in the next tutorial. We'll talk about US GenWeb. This one is pointing you to Find My Past. So they point you to different places. This takes you to the State Department of Health. But I'm going to go to this database. And when I'm searching, I'm only searching this database. I'm not searching the entire FamilySearch website. I'm only searching on this website or on this database. So I'm going to type in P. Ziegler. And similar to Ancestry, there is an exact name only search. But I'm going to leave it broad because Ziegler's one of those names that can be spelt a multiple ways, and I don't want to limit it to just one spelling of Ziegler. And there's a couple of reasons. One, perhaps the county clerk, wrote down Ziegler the way they thought Ziegler should be spelled, or perhaps your ancestors spelled it differently than you do now. So for this search, I'm going to limit it. I'm not going to limit it. I'm going to do a broad Ziegler search. I'm not going to do exact only. And I'm going to search. And I'm going to go to W.P. Ziegler. Right here is the index information. And this is where we're going to go to the primary source or the microfilm. Now there's a couple of things that is different about FamilySearch than it is with Ancestry. What they're trying to do is every single person will have a particular number associated with them. So for this W.P. Ziegler, this is his number. So what they're trying to do is attach all the records and all the family trees, and they want to have it all connected to that one number. When I talk about family trees and online software, I will be going into this more in depth. There's also some tools here. I can add it to a source box, which is similar to that shoebox function that Ancestry has. I can print it, I can email it to myself. But I'm going to go and browse. And you'll notice that it didn't take me directly to the record. In this case, it took me to the microfilm, the digitized microfilm. And there's 776 pages. Well, I don't really want to browse that many pages. So I want to see if this is broken up in some sort of way. And you'll notice that there is these beginning part where it says who microfilmed it. And usually when you click on there, it tells you the kind of information before that subset of microfilm. So in this instance, it's 1881 to 1886. Well, we're looking for 1893. Yes. So I'm going to go back. This little, with the little rectangles here is to look at multiple images. So it takes me back to that big view. So I'm going to scroll on down till I see the next beginning of the microfilm page. So here's the end, and then here's the beginning, because that word end, and then this is begin. So this is the beginning of that book. So this one says 1885 to 1893, and we're looking for 1893. So then I still don't want to browse all these records, so we're going to see how this is organized. And you'll see these columns. That looks like to me it's an index. So like this is indexing, and it tells you the names. So this is the ends, and it tells you the page number. So I'm going to go back until I can find. Okay, so this is Y, the Youngs. So Z is next. So this takes me next page over, and that begins the records. So there wasn't a Ziegler. So let's go back and see why there wasn't a Ziegler. If I scroll down further, here, this is all that same book. Okay, so now let's go to the next book. This book is 1892 to 1897. So 1893 might be in this one as well. And let me go to the index. So here's Ziegler, and you'll see that it's on page 54. Well, this is page 446 of the microfilm because it has several books in it. And this is page 54 of this particular book that we currently are looking at. So it's page 54. Let's go back to where I can see all of that. And let's go and click on here. This is page 32 and 33. This is page 50 and 51. So let's see what this one is. And this is page 54. So this is the microfilm for that marriage license and affidavit for that Ziegler. Now you'll notice that there's some tools over here. Here's that source box. Again, it's similar to the shoe box that Ancestry has. Over here are some tools, and like Ancestry, there's an invert tool. So if I'm having a difficult time reading this, I might want to use that invert tool. Let me go back to that. There's an adjust image, which Ancestry does not have this functionality, where I can brighten, darken, I can change the contrast. So let me cancel that. So if you find a record on Ancestry and you're having a difficult time reading it, look to see if it's also available on FamilySearch so that you have that adjust image brightness contrastability, because it might help you look at that record better. And then you can download it and you can print it. And if you have a family tree that's on FamilySearch, you can attach it to your family tree. Okay. So now that we did the FamilySearch Wiki search, let's go to let's go to the global search. And I'm going to search Robert Kinsaw. And we're going to look for a marriage record. And he was married in 1878. And let's go ahead and search. Now you'll notice over here, and whenever you hover, it will tell you what that means. So this is viewing the record, the image. If you go over here, that's view the image, and it's taking you to another website. So if it has that little box around the camera, that means that FamilySearch has located a record, but it's going to take you to another website. So in this case, it's taking you to Find a Grave. But we're going to go to this first one right here. Again, this is going to be your secondary source or the index. And then we're going to go and view the original document. And in this instance, it's taking you straight to the page where Robert is. And if you recall on the previous tutorial, I said to always pay attention to your columns. So you always want to look first to see what the columns are telling you. So the date in the first column is when the license is issued. So it's not the marriage date, it's when the license was issued. The second column is not the person who got married, but if it's the line 2, it might be the father who's giving consent, or the first line may be the groom. This is for sure the groom. If he's underage, it would be the father giving the affidavit. So here's the name of the groom, the place of resident, what he does for occupation, how old he is, place of birth, the number of marriages. So in this instance, this is his second marriage. This gives the information of the bride, if maiden name, if a widow, is the second line, which is good. Sometimes when you're looking at marriage records, it will give the name of the bride, but not the maiden name. So if she is a widow and she's getting married, it would have her current name, which is her married name. And so this is really good because this does give the maiden name. So that's a really good clue that you typically don't find on a marriage record. And then over here, it says who married them, and then date of the return and date when registered. And if you recall in our first vital record video, I talked about the difference between a return and a register. So you got 3 dates on here. You have whenever the minister or the justice of the peace actually registered the birth, or returned the birth to the register, and then whenever the county clerk registered the birth, and you have whenever the bride and groom applied for the license. Okay, so let's go on down to Robert, because that's the person we're interested in. Okay, so here's Robert, and the one above here is the father who's giving consent for his 19-year-old son to get married. So here's Robert, and it gives the information for him right here. And then you'll notice that here is a Mark Sebastian Randolph, and it says that Robert is giving permission for Mark to get married. I doubt that that is the case because Mark is 23 and Robert is 26. I think that's basically someone made a mistake and they didn't cross it out. So that gives you one way to search, and again that was in the global search. So let's go back to search records, and I'm going to do a location search, and I'm going to go to Ohio. Now, whenever you're looking in a location search, you'll start seeing where learning courses are popping up. So maybe you're searching Germany, and it will start showing you that FamilySearch has created some tutorials on how to search the German records or how to interpret it. And here, this is how to do research in Ohio. So when you're doing a location search, it will give you some additional tips over here, and so they have 13 classes on just Ohio research. So we're going to do Cicero Matheny, and I'm looking for birth, and he was born in 1883, and I'm going to go ahead and search, and let's go here. Again, this is the secondary source, and then this takes you to the original document. And then you'll notice that this is very light. So again, that's when that adjust image, when you want more of a contrast. It might make it easier to read it. So that's why I like using FamilySearch whenever I'm looking at a record that is difficult to see on another website such as Ancestry. And if it's too faded, I like looking at how FamilySearch has it because I have that contrast tool. So, and then this gives you the information at the top. Name of the father, name of the mother, and who reported the birth, like the physician. Okay, so that's how you would do a location search. Next, we're going to go to, I'm going to my notes here. We're going to do that historical record, and we're going to go to Georgia. So again, I'm going to go to records. I'm going to do that location search again, and I'm going to go to Georgia. Now, these are the indexed records. So this is the microfilm that has been indexed, but down here are the image only. And so these are records that they have uploaded, the microfilm that they've digitized and uploaded, but they haven't indexed them yet. So for instance, this Georgia Andersonville prison records, they uploaded it in 2012, but they haven't had an opportunity to index it. Also, here's some marriage records from 2014, and they haven't indexed them yet. So I'm going to go to the marriages first. And this may be daunting whenever you see that there's a lot of records that you need to browse. But go ahead, and even though we're going to select Hall County, even though there's a lot of records, they have broken them down into subsets. So if I just want to look at marriage license from 1950, there's only 166, so it's easier for me to browse. And again, this is how I would see the all of the images. And if I want to pull one up, I just do that and pull that up. Okay, so let's go back to search records, and I want to go to location, and I'm going to go back to Georgia. I can spell. All right, I'm going to go to Georgia, and I'm going to go to those Andersonville prison records. Now, again, we are talking about vital records that are issued by a city, not a city, but a county or a state. But I do want to point out that in our next upcoming tutorials, we'll be talking about how you can find other death information from other records, such as a cemetery record or a church record, or in this case, prison records. So here are, these are people that have died in Andersonville prison. And so you would be able to find death records using the prison records. Okay, let me close out some of this. And now we're going to go to the catalog. And in the catalog, we're going to search by place, but you can search by surname, titles, keywords. But we're going to do Sumner County, and we're going to do Tennessee. And again, if you recall from the ancestry class, I said whenever you start typing things in and they give you a list, always select from their list, because that is how it's classified. You don't want to continue typing. So I'm going to go to Tennessee. And they give you a lot of records here, and we're going to go to the vital records. And you'll notice there's a whole bunch of add and remove and add. If you go up to the top, you'll see that there's a catalog print list. If you're logged in, you are able to add things to a like a shoebox of something that you want to take a look at. And as long as you're logged in, it will keep that information. Once you logged out, you lose that list. So I have a list of records that I want to look at. And so if I go here to birth records, that little image says that it's here on FamilySearch. It takes me to record of births. If I go back and I'm going to go to marriage records, it says that marriage records are available online. Click here. And then this is for Tennessee. So if I click this, there is lots of records, and then it's subdivided by the county. But if we go back a little bit, because I was in Sumner County, it tells me here these are all Sumner County lists. So if I know that I'm looking for somebody with the last name G and their marriage is between 1840 and 1849, I can click this and it takes me straight to that record set. So you always want to scroll down to the bottom to see if there's more information instead of just stopping at the top. Okay, so let's go back to my catalog list. And now you'll notice here these are people's names. That means these are secondary sources. Plus there's a call number. So if I want to go to, let me go to my notes again. I want to go to the bond book, the Sumner County Bond Book. And it will tell me that this is a book and it's available at their Family History Library. But there's also this link that tells me to look for WorldCat. Now WorldCat has not every library has their holdings in WorldCat, but say it tells you if whatever library that has uploaded their holdings, their books and stuff into WorldCat, it will tell you what is the closest library near you that has that book you're looking for. So I'm looking for a marriage bond book, and it says that the Roanoke City Public Library has it, as well as Library of Virginia, Library of Congress, Knox County Public Library System. So here, you always want to go to WorldCat if because you can't go to Salt Lake City, you want to check to see if another library closer to you has it. So you want to click on that WorldCat, and in this instance, it's close enough because it's Roanoke City Library in the Virginia room. All right, let me go back to my catalog list. So the next thing we want to do is go to the Greene County. And it says there's a digitized version of this item. So sometimes they've scanned and uploaded books and you're able to see the books. And you can scroll through and look at it. And down here is where you can click on it. You see the little thumbnails. You pull something up. And again, that's very hard. At least it's very hard for me to see sometimes. There's a contrast, so you can change the contrast and make it darker if you need to. You can search within the book. You can show the text. And sometimes they've gone over here and used OCR, which a computer program has said what is in that book. So if you're having a hard time reading something, you can use that. But you can do search, and you can search for the name within the book. Now let's go back to our catalog again. And I'm going to show one more example. And the example I'm going to show is the marriage records of Sumner County. And here it says that it's part of this journal. And when we want to click the digitized version takes you here, and it says due to copyright restrictions you cannot see this online. But right here is the title of the magazine. If I go here to our website, which is Roanoke Valley Libraries, and I go to the Virginia room, we do have it. So even though it didn't point you to WorldCat, I could type it into our catalog, and we do own that journal. So if that is something you come across a journal article, see if we have the journal article, because we may have it, and then you could see the information that way. Okay, so let me go back and recap. You can search FamilySearch by the Wiki, by the catalog. You could do a record search, and when here you could do either a global search where you're searching all kinds of different locations, different countries, or you can limit it by location. So if you just want to do Ohio or Virginia, you can narrow it down. Whenever you're narrowing it down, You want to scroll down to the bottom and see if there's any image only, because those are the microfilm records that haven't been indexed yet. So there could be records in there that you want to look for your ancestor. So let me go back here. So this is the end of the family search, but our next tutorial will be other online resources, and I will be talking about that website I talked about before, which is US Gen Web, and I'll talk about state archives and state libraries and other kind of resources. So thank you for watching this tutorial, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.